The story is called My Cat Eats Her Feelings. I wasn't aware of this until one day in the spring of 2010 when I had an idea. A genius idea. There's this lady who lives in Montrose and walks her cat. Yeah, that's right. I said her cat. I'm sure most of you aren't even really surprised. It's Montrose after all, and you may have even seen her around. Her cat is black, medium-sized, and very cute. She puts a halter on said cat, clips a leash to it, and off they go. Now, my cat has always wanted to go outside pretty much since forever. I was afraid she'd get hit because, you know, she's dumb. So I walked to the pet store and got my own cat harness and a leash. And I had to get the biggest harness because not only is my cat dumb, she's also fat. Really fat. Now, there are all types of tips to get your cat adjusted to wearing a harness. Quote, put it on for 15 minutes at a time, once a day, until the cat is comfortable in the contraption and stops totally freaking out every time you put the damn thing on her, end quote. So, those sorts of instructions. The harness had them, but did I read them? Of course not. Of course not. I was way too excited to walk with my cat. Now, everybody would be looking at me thinking, oh man, there's that chick walking her cat again, talking about me. And so I was like, right. So picture this. Me standing in my living room, wrestling my cat as the rest of my zoo watches on, my dog cowering in the corner, probably thinking she's next. Okay. Ha! I exclaimed. The harness finally in place. I picked up my cat, clipped the leash to the harness, all the while practically running down the stairs to get this walk started. Upon arriving outside, I tried to get her to, walk, but she wasn't budging. She was standing on the bricks outside my building, eyes dilated, totally freaked out. I stood there with her for a few minutes before giving up. And I turned to open the door to my building, the same door that I had let slam shut behind us. That same door, I suddenly remember, that locks upon being closed. That same door that requires a key. That same door that shit. And all the excitement of walking my cat, I left my keys upstairs in my apartment, which would have been fine. I didn't lock the doors, but I forgot to keep this final door from slamming shut behind me. Okay, I thought, I need a plan. Right, well the cat is just derping there, so I can tie the leash up to this iron lattice work and then climb it. I'd seen my roommate do it dozens of times before. He always forgot his keys upstairs. There was a little ledge at the top and then an open window right upstairs between our apartment and the one across from us. I could do this. I tied the cat up to the latticework and began my climb. My shoes were getting stuck between the metal, so I struggled a bit at first. I got the hang of things and was halfway up when I heard some crazy ruckus and looked down. And oh my god, the fucking cat. She was totally spazzing out, like wriggling this way and that, doing crazy twists like a fucking crocodile trying to kill his prey, Before I could get down to stop her, she had slipped free of the harness and was making her way behind some bushes toward the entryway to the courtyard. And I knew if she made it beyond that point, I'd never catch her. So I leapt from my relatively safe position halfway up the side of the building and scrambled toward the bushes, lunging this way and that to confuse her into submission. Well, it worked. Honestly, she wasn't even running. She was fat. She was just having a sniff around in the bush. It wasn't that big of a deal. I picked her up and assessed the situation. The only way into my apartment was up the latticework. That was pretty much was clear. I had no phone, no wallet, no way to get in touch with my roommate or my landlord or anyone for that matter. Luckily for me, one of my good friends lived not a block away. Maybe she could hold on to the cat for a minute while I got back to my place. So I had to try. It was my only option. Picked up my cat, placed her under my arm, and started walking. And I had to switch her back and forth between my arms several times because of her weight. But we made it to my friend's house, and I promptly banged on the door. No answer. Tried again, louder. Still no answer. I yelled her name a few times, but there was no response. She was definitely not home. Now, my friend lived in a building similar to mine, but the door to hers didn't actually close all the way. I looked around to see if there was a solution available to me, and when I laid eyes on the 2 small recycling bins, I realized what I must do. So, with the overweight cat struggling in my arms, I emptied all the newspaper out of the bins and put my cat down in one of them. I turned the other bin upside down and placed it over my cat so that she now sat in a recycling bin prison. There was nothing to weigh the top bin down with, so I just put all the newspaper back on top of it, pulled the door to as closed as possible, and ran. I booked it home, started climbing the latticework. Now, I'm no gymnast, so it was really awkward and difficult, especially once I got to the top. I rolled along the edge and barely fit through the half-opened window, but I had made it. I flung the door open, and there was my dog and my other 2 cats trying to figure out what the hell was going on, and where was the other cat? No time to explain, I declared, as if they cared, and grabbed my keys before hopping down the steps 3 at a time, racing back to my friend's apartment in my car. I parked out front and headed inside, slowly opening the front door in a final effort to prevent my cat's escape. The recycling bin were thrown all over. Newspaper littered the floor. No cat. No fucking cat. Okay, but wait, what was that I heard? A meow. So I headed up the stairs, and there sat my cat, thinking we were at my building, attempting to get into the apartment on the 2nd floor. She stood with her front paws on the dashboard for the short ride home, hollering with anxiety. Once we made it inside my apartment, I set her down, and the other cats sniffed her while she ran past them. I followed her. Where was she running? I found her inside my room, inhaling what was left of the kibble in her bowl atop my dresser. After a few minutes of eating, she hopped into my bed for a nap. She didn't get up for 2 days. That's how I learned that my cat eats her feelings.